All right, what's going on, everybody? This is George Davis with WGVU Marketing and Special Events Coordinator here in the WGVU NPR Music Room here at the Eberhard City Grand Valley State University, coming to you because we are featuring tonight our virtual pop-up concert mini-series, if you will. So traditionally, this would be held at the Listening Room in our partnership there at Studio Park, but given the current state that we're in, considering COVID, we are going on Zoom and we're doing it this way. So excited tonight for yet to feature another local artist. And if this is content that you enjoy or you're looking to figure out how to become a greater part of the WGVU public media family, you should go to our website at wgvu.org. Click the red donate button in the top right-hand corner, and that is a great way for you to show your support for public media and more than anything for local music. And so tonight, or today, we are super excited to have with us all the way from Kalamazoo, Michigan. She is an artist, she is a curator, she is a soul singer extraordinaire. I certainly have found it to be a delight to experience her live and on many and several occasions. We have tonight Ms. Yolanda Lavender. I wish there was an audience here. It would be much better for it that way.
Ooh, ooh.
Cool. Well, everybody, I'm not gonna read the bio. I mean, you can check it out for yourself online at ylsoulartistry.com, which is the home for Soul Artistry LLC for Yolanda. But she has shared the stage with likes of Erykah Badu and In Vogue, Keith Murray, tons and tons of great artists that we all enjoy. And certainly, if you listen to her music, you can pick up some of the influence there between a lot of soul artists, gospel, jazz, R&B, hip hop, blues. She just runs the gamut, and she certainly, in my opinion, is really a soulful voice for our generation. And so, Yolanda, it's so glad to sit down and finally talk to you. We see each other a lot. We run into each other like gigs to see each other. It's like, hey, how you doing? To really get to sit down and hear your story and to kind of talk through that. So take us all the way back to the beginning, where you're from, where your roots are, and how that developed into this beautiful talent that you have.
Yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate the chance to connect. So I grew up in church, started singing when I was 5 years old in the choir. And so those are like my first experiences in front of an audience, in front of the congregation.
Sure.
And so I always remember just being like terrified. And so I would try to make sure I could be like in the back or,
right.
Just look at my mom while I'm singing. And so I always remember that fear just never went away until I was like 14, still singing in the choir. And I remember the choir director just like pushing me, like, you're going to sing the solos, you're going to, get out there more. And so that helped me to be able to push through that fear. And I would say probably high school, waited until my senior year of high school to join choir. And that's really where I was, able to shine and gain more confidence of just being up there and singing and finding my own voice. And so after graduating from high school, I dibbled and dabbled a little bit here and there in college. And then my cousin started a label, independent label, True Tone Records. And so it was my first experience of being introduced to recording in the studio. And I just fell in love and was like hooked from that point forward. And so after the recording, and then it was like, okay, well, let's like perform these songs that we're recording in front of people. And so I attribute some of my first experiences outside of church for performing in front of an audience to Fire Historical and Cultural Arts Collaborative, which is a nonprofit here in Kalamazoo that just provided so many of those initial stages for myself and many other, artists that were coming up during that time. So that's, how the journey happened. But I always remember as a kid, like music was just always around and a part of my upbringing. My mom almost named me Ebony because she was like so in love with Stevie Wonder and the Ebony and Ivory song.
I feel like all of our parents and relatives did that. They're like, oh, there's a Stevie song.
Yes.
There's a Donny Hathaway, Roberta Flack song. They're like, well, let me name my baby this.
Yeah,
parents born in the 50s and 60s, that's what they did.
Absolutely. My dad gave me some of my first introductions to hip hop. I can remember him like, beating on the dinner table and like singing the whole Rapper's Delight song.
Yes.
So I just had it, from church to cleaning up Saturday morning, just all of these different experiences and exposure to music was just, amazing. And so after doing lots of performances around Kalamazoo and other places around the country, really, I just, picked it up as like, this is going to be more than a hobby for me. Developed Soul Artistry LLC as a way to create performance opportunities for myself and others that, just weren't readily available otherwise. And so here we are almost, I think like 2010 is when that started to kind of pick up. So since that time, I've been doing it. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's cause for celebration, certainly.
Yes.
Be able to create a platform for yourself, to put your music out, but also for other artists locally who may not have the inroads, right, into certain spaces and venues to make sure that their art can get heard too. And talk to us a little about that. So working as an artist in West Michigan, particularly a Black artist, how has that been? What do you feel like has really like laid the groundwork for you to be so successful in terms of having the good opportunities that you've had in terms of, being an artist here in West Michigan locally? Because I think most people would think like, oh, Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, metropolitan area is really small. It's super insular. but we're finding more and more like yourself, people are being testaments to being able to be working artists and to really do it well and be successful. What do you attribute that to?
Yeah, absolutely. So I always tell people, like, I've had the opportunity to travel to a lot of other places and perform. Specifically, Atlanta has probably been the one place outside of like Kalamazoo and Grand Rapids that I have, had the most success with, like, support and being able to book gigs. But I haven't experienced anything like the art scenes in Kalamazoo and Grand Rapids, where it's like led by the artists and folks, know and support one another, whether it's, someone has an open mic that they do or whatever it might be. I haven't experienced that in other places. And so I do appreciate, West Michigan being so embracing of the arts, but I, again, remember there not being opportunities for me to perform. And I think, some of it is attributed to the fact that there's just like I don't even really know how to explain it, but it's like some of the same characters would always have the opportunities to be able to perform, and unless someone introduced you to that group that was, within that rotation, or you knew someone or something like that, then you just wouldn't have those chances. And so I really don't think it was until we received those opportunities from places like FIRE or began to create them ourselves, that it started to pick up for other people, and they noticed like, oh, what are they doing over there? And so then the opportunity would be extended to come and perform in certain spaces. I do also, know my experience here in Kalamazoo with Western Michigan University, being in this community that, with the music school, very competitive. So I've been able to connect with a lot of just amazing and talented musicians that I otherwise wouldn't be able to. But also there's like a catering to those individuals for gig opportunities, that because they are associated with Western and the School of Music, that they would get chances that, just like a local artist or someone who grew up in the area but didn't go to Western, that is talented, might not have that opportunity. So yeah, and I've been comfortable with like speaking about that to people, and letting them know that is part of the reason why soul artistry exists, is because
to bridge that gap.
Yes, we're reaching out to and connecting with the artists who would not have those chances to perform, to provide those for them. So
nice. That's really good. Talk to us a little bit about your influences, like your greatest influences. When was it that I think all singers or musicians have that moment, right? Maybe having grown up in a musical family, or started out in church, but they heard a particular song or they heard a particular voice, and they were like, "That's it! Like that's how I want to start." I always refer to it as the Whitney Effect, right? Like, remember the first time they heard Whitney Houston sing, they were like, "What is that? And how could I be like that?" Who was that artist for you? What was that song for you? What was that moment like?
Yeah, there's a few specific moments that I remember. So I remember in the kitchen, because I feel like my life was spent washing the dishes. Although my mom might disagree.
I agree. I agree.
We had like this little boom box in there. It was like right on top of the microwave. And I would either like record. I mean, I'm dating myself, but
no, we record from the radio.
Yes,
that you could play it back on the cassette.
Yes.
Well, I had the boombox that was black with the purple, the green, the yellow. The red. They had like the automatic input tape, and
you had the real, yeah. So yeah, recording from the radio. Or I remember I had like this cool aunt who was like real hip and always had all the new CDs, and so I would like record the CDs. So I remember like Erykah Badu, the Baduism album was in there. I remember like Sounds of Blackness, because it was like church, but it was still like it was fly though. Yeah.
You're like touching my soul right now.
Yes.
Sounds of Blackness.
Yes. The Pace Sisters, I remember them because I had, heard about the Clark sisters, but the Pace Sisters, it was just like it was like, what? Whoa. So them, so I remember that, like, that was my washing the dishes
Sure.
music that I would, oh, what was that run? Or like, how do they sound like that? I remember those
Mm-hmm.
experiences. But I remember I was in 8th grade and my aunt got the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill
Mm-hmm.
album and loaned it to me. And I was like, oh, so this is what people are doing.
Right.
It was just, it was
Yeah.
life changing. It was life
Mm-hmm.
changing. And then it wasn't until later on, after I had, lived some more, that
Mm-hmm.
I found myself going back to those songs and being
Mm-hmm.
like, oh yeah, I need to perform this now because
Mm-hmm.
that message is something that people need to hear, or, based on something
Sure.
that I'm feeling or might see around me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I remember those washing the dishes tapes, and then that Miseducation of Lauryn Hill just did something. Like the lyrics, the writing,
Mm-hmm.
just all of it was a different experience.
Cool. So I want to pick up on two things. So one, the silent blacklist thing, I can completely concur. And I think the thing about their music, although it was like very gospel centric, it also had like Negro spiritual elements, right? And it really just brought the diaspora and put it on a plate. Right?
Mm-hmm.
At a time where identity and blackness was really being challenged, or people were really starting to really uncover that, right? And tear down systems, right, of racism, so forth and so on in the music industry, in music, and being willing to talk about it, posts like African Bambaataa and all that type of music as well too. Those great artists. I remember Sounds Black was one of my first concerts I ever went to, and it was at Calvin College, and I remember going, and I still listen to that album today. I put it on a playlist this past weekend on Spotify, but I just remember like being mesmerized.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way they sang, the content, the music, all the elements, but it was just like, there was just like an energy, right, that they carried. And obviously it came through the content and their music, but I just remember fully being in the 8th grade at the same time and full on like tears, just at like, wow, look at like my people, our people, what they're able to accomplish, and like what our music really sounds like. That's beautiful. Obviously, Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is like transformational for everybody.
Yes.
In terms of music, like you can't be living and breathing at the moment and not respect that piece of work. But another artist that you often remind me of in my kind of encounters with you, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with her, but Lisa McClendon.
Yes.
So I was like, if Yolanda does not know about Lisa McClendon, I don't know if she knows anything, because every time I hear you, I'm like, this is Lisa McClendon in a local body. Like everything, like your cadence, some of your riffs and runs and just like placement. I'm like, that is so Lisa McClendon. So
wow. Yes.
And it would make sense too, right? Like I think Lisa has always been that bridge of like the church kid who was hype on Lauren, but maybe ain't had no business listening to Lauren in your mouth. Rita Louise Watson, you singing don't pay the bills. You had to find you one in the context of like traditional faith structures, and Lisa McClendon was that artist. Great.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Yeah, so that's wow, that's rich. That's very, very rich. Talk about if you could collab with anybody right now, dead or alive, who would that be?
Oh my gosh, that's such a loaded question. But what comes to the top of my mind is so during the quarantine, all of these DJs have been doing these different sets.
And the versus battles and
and so I have enjoyed that a lot, especially picking up on some DJs that I might not have otherwise known about, but also seeing like the versatility and differences in the DJs and like the way that they mix or like present the music, and how some of them are producers, and it's been amazing. But Ninth Wonder is one that I've been a Ninth Wonder fan. Like I don't even know how long, but I've been tuning into his DJ sets and paying close attention to him, and he has put me on to so much like incredible music since I've been really listening since like March. But he also is a phenomenal producer. Like he used to produce for Jay-Z,
Sure.
Just, is the sound behind like Little Brother, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're familiar with Rhapsody, but
Oh yeah.
like
Yeah,
crazy.
I mean he's activist, he's artist, he's professor
Yeah.
right, in North Carolina. Like
Yes.
yeah, he I love how he brings social awareness and academia and like music together. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
beautiful. And
He
it
is.
shows up in his performances.
Yes, that's the
Mm-hmm.
thing that I love the most. And the reason why I would choose him to collaborate with is because I also find myself like, just so many hats. And so
Mm-hmm.
but I don't ever feel that I should have to take one off for any reason
Mm-hmm.
if that's not something that I want to do or feel is necessary. And so I
Yeah.
appreciate that he does that as well. Like, know that you will be able to just like chill and kick it with him and create
Yeah.
great music, but that he also would give you some knowledge, and he's just amazing. But
Yeah.
I remember, so he does like a DJ set where he will play like a like old record from God knows when, that you have like heard, but you didn't know that was the record. And then he
Sure.
will compare it with the sample that he's used for a song that we definitely know. And
Wow.
I'm just like, oh my gosh, like,
Yeah,
how
that's
does
genius.
he even
That's
come up with
teaching.
it? Yeah, and like knowing when, like what part of the sample to use and when to bring it in and all of that is just like, I'm so intrigued by that. So yeah, it probably would be Ninth
Nice.
Wonder.
Talk to us about, so right, like most artists start out, as you said before, like for yourself, start out doing covers or certain songs resonating with you that were easy for you to perform because you were able to internalize the lyrics and then like deliver that. How did songwriting come about? Certainly that probably is a natural evolution as an artist, but not all recording artists, write their own material. And I'm sure you've had other writers on your projects or maybe written for other people, but how did songwriting craft evolve for you? How did you become confident in that space? And then kind of what does your recording process look like? Do you have a formula, so forth and so on?
Yeah, so like I said, I started with recording first before I did any performing. And so I had like all of these original songs, and like collaborating with other people that are part of the label that I'm a part of, and just folks in the music scene in Kalamazoo. And so I remember it was always like whenever I was gonna go and do a gig, like I would maybe pick like one or two original songs, but then I would blend it with other like covers, so that people had something that they would be able to recognize, but then I could also give them some of my original stuff so that they can get to know who I am.
Sure.
And so I have always maintained doing that, wanting to include cover music as well. And I think primarily because I'm never going to present it the way that the person who wrote it and recorded it is presenting it.
Sure.
I'm always going to finesse it in some way and turn it into my own. And so it took a little while, to be honest, for me to be comfortable with thinking about doing my own music the same way, and knowing that the one time that I perform it over here is not going to ever sound like that again, no matter how many times I perform it. It'll be completely different every single time. And that's the thing that I love so much about live music, because I'm bringing into that performance everything from like the day that I had, things that have been happening around me, whatever energy I'm getting in that moment from the audience. So nothing it's always going to be different every single time. And I think that's the same thing that I've experienced with writing music, is that whatever mood or feeling that I'm having at the time is what is going to come out. So I just started like writing again seriously since this pandemic has happened. And I remember even thinking about my process, because before I would like maybe get instrumental music from someone, sit down, take a few hours, write some lyrics, come up with a song. And so I was thinking like this time around, I still had that feeling of like, okay, I got to dedicate, these amount of hours, go through the instrumentals, write something. But I did it differently this time. I just let the music play, and I just like recorded. I didn't even write anything down. I just recorded whatever was coming up for me, in my voice notes, and just let that be it.
Mm-hmm.
And the result was that, you know, once I sent that to the person I was collaborating with, they were they were like, you did this on a phone and this is just like amazing. And, you know, and I was just like, whoa, like I didn't think that you would have anything to even use.
Right. Yeah.
But it was a testament to me that it, you know, it's probably okay for me to change the process that I had using for like 15 years
Sure.
to something that is more like palatable, and then also that I have the capacity to do right now. Because I don't want it to be a situation where I just go for like long periods of time, especially in this moment, where
Sure.
I'm not recording anything, and I don't want to miss the opportunity to, you know, see what's going to come up for me creatively during this moment that we're experiencing in this country. And so yeah, I'm excited about continuing to use that method moving forward. And also, like, I know as an artist and from working with artists that folks have a hard time with like doing something and then just letting it go and not, you know, returning to it and trying to get it perfect, which is impossible. And so I'm thinking about that as well, that I want to do things that are more, you know, spur of the moment, or I'm going to do this and then send it on and then move on to the next thing. So yeah, I'm excited about incorporating some of these new processes.
So
yeah,
beautiful lessons, because I was going to ask you, like, what did you feel like were the lessons that you were learning about just being an artist during COVID? But those are great things.
Got a smile on my face that just won't go away. I'm happy. The sun's beaming down on me, wind's blowing through my hair. I'm blessed and I'm happy. Things could be better and things could be worse, but who's keeping score? Right now I'm happy. I'm rejoicing always, finding content in whatever state. That's what he said, so I'm happy. And even when the day is dark, he shows me the light, and to that I hold tight. It makes me happy. And I welcome the rainy days to make room for growth and change, so I can be happy. I'm celebrating love and life, gratitude for his sacrifice. How could I not be happy? Joy unspeakable, grace unbelievable, mercy attainable. It all makes me happy. La 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 la. I'm happy. La 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 la. I'm happy. Oh. I realize I got a choice every day when I wake up. I realize I got a choice every day when I rise. I know I got a choice every day when I wake up. I know I got a choice every day that I rise. Whether I'm gonna be, whether I want to be, whether I'm gonna be, or if I want to be. If I'm gonna be, if I wanna be, if I'm gonna be happy. If I'm gonna be happy. If I wanna be happy.
And we talk about spread of the moment. So let's play Song Association if you ready.
Let's do it.
I love playing this. I do it with friends all the time, with other singers. But so you'll give me some words. You got 10 seconds to sing a song or a line of a song or phrase with the word in it. So the first word is live.
Summertime and the living is easy. Fish are jumping and the cotton is high. Your daddy's rich and your mama's good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry.
Wait a minute. Don't run my way.
It was living. It wasn't live, but it's close. It's in the family.
It's okay. All right. Run is the next word.
Woo! Run. Oh my gosh. Run. Run. No songs with the word run in them.
I know. That's why I picked it, because it's
Oh
hard.
my God.
Other than Run to You by Whitney Houston.
Oh, I run to you. I run to you. I don't touch Whitney. I don't.
That's Look to You. I was talking, I don't want to run to you.
Oh.
Move.
Move. Stop, turn, look and see. Pause, breathe, run and dream. Stay strong, live and lead. Move love across the seas. Do you know about We Are King?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Just want to make sure.
I was like, it wasn't until you got to the last time I was like, oh, this is King. Yeah, that is a.
I love.
Like, now that you say that, you're giving me all sorts of Anita vibes. I know. I don't think she with them. Because this is offline conversation, because Paris and Amber only post each other now.
Yeah.
And I'm the shade.
Yeah.
Anyways, I know I've been trying to find her. Like, she is like one of my favorite alto and contralto voices. Like, not finding anything from her since like whatever happened with King.
I know.
Yes. Oh, that album was. So you slept on that.
Yeah.
It should have got a Grammy that year. I'm sorry.
Should have.
It should have got a Grammy that year. Oh my gosh, it's one of my favorite pieces of work in the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
What you sang that last song and you used up all the words I had chosen. Love. And it can't be Music Soul Child love.
Oh, you know I was going right to it.
Nope, because everybody want to go to that. As a soul singer, everybody like, oh, let me go to Philly real quick.
I just did this song that I can't even remember the words to it now. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm just gonna chasing after a dream that only you can see. That's love. Mm-hmm. Choosing to forgive for you and not for them. That's all. That's all I can remember.
I love it. So you have three projects out that are available, right? Yeah. Soul Archie was the first project, right? Mm-hmm. And then Genres of Me.
Yep.
Second project. And then the latest project is Back for the First Time.
Correct.
Talk to me about the title. How you came up, how that you got to that, what it means, so forth and so on.
Yeah, so Back for the First Time, there was so many things wrapped up in that one. So I had gone to Atlanta for maybe like a week or so, and did some recording with some outstanding musicians there, performances, all of that, and created like all of these, you know, like live versions of songs that I had done before.
Okay.
And so it really was about like returning, I guess, to music, although like you never really leave, but returning to it in a new way, like with more experiences under my belt and just things that I hadn't, you know, like talked about in a while. And so that's really what, you know, kind of spurred that. Just like the moment that I was in while I was creating that was like a return, but also there was a lot of people that, you know, didn't know about me or weren't familiar, and so them having their first, you know, Yolanda experience.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is
Yo.
exactly.
Yeah, so that was the decision on the name of that one.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, man, like the introspection that I feel like that comes out in the writing on this project is vastly different than the two previous albums, as well as a couple other things. So one, I cannot get, what song is it? Red Wine Crimes and Thursday Blues, like off of my brain playlist. I'm thinking about it like on a daily basis since I first listened to it.
Oh, wow.
This was coming up and I went back and I was like, I gotta listen to it. I was like, oh. You gotta unpack that for me. You gotta unpack both of them. And Thursday Blues too, I think from like a vocal perspective for you, in my experience, like that is that has showcased like your range more than any other song. Not any other, but a lot. Like, the highs, you have the lows, like the intonations there, like the depth, right, like of your voice too, like that Clark Sisters growl, the grovelly type of tone. I've seen you like a dozen times. I never heard her like this. Like that song. Did you write that?
Yes. Yeah.
In the words, as I say with my group, like that song is ignorant. Like it's just. I was just like, wow, this is really, 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 really. If people want to know who you are as an artist, they should listen to that song, and they'll be like,
wow.
To me, that's my personal perspective. I absolutely love it. And the spoken word piece before, the Red Wine Crimes, I was like, oh yeah, this is good.
Yeah. Oh gosh, thank you for that. I was going like super deep, and I was like, is my mom gonna be able to listen to this? But yeah, everybody needs to listen to it to know, like you said, it really was the first time of like, you know, like really letting people know who I am and like, you know, how it happens sometimes. So I think Red Wine Crimes was just like, you know, relationship stuff and you know, quit calling and don't, you know, maybe you need to not have the glass of Merlot so that you don't call. And that's real. Like that happens for people. That really does.
Absolutely. Yeah. That one extra glass, you like this. Yeah. I just
let me just see what they might be up to, right?
What you might be doing.
Yeah, so that's real. That's, you know, that actually has been super real during this quarantine for myself and a lot of people. So see, that's what I'm talking about. It comes back. It always comes around. So yeah, that one, just because I was like, yeah, like I want people to know that like I'm going through and feeling and experiencing, you know, some of the same things that you do. Like we all have these moments. And then, excuse me, Thursday Blues, the same thing. Like I had this experience that was just like, it was horrible. And it happened on a Thursday. I remember going into my creative space and just like, it just like poured out. Like every single word, like the emotion, everything. And then I connected with a friend of mine Max Brown, who actually plays bass and guitar for the Warren Treaty. He is just like an amazing musician.
With Tanya Blunt from
Yes.
Effect 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, her and her husband. Yeah.
Yes, they are just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I met Max through the School of Music at Western, and we had like been doing gigs together. And so I composed, and arranged the music, and I, talked to him about how I wanted like the inflections to be with like the bass and the guitar, and that I wanted it to be very like, blues heavy, and I wanted people to be able to, I wanted it to be like an experience for people when they listen to it. And so I remember we went over to just like, a friend's studio, like not even anything super elaborate, and laid it down. And I had no clue even, like how I'm gonna sing it or, what's gonna happen. It just came, it just flowed the way that it needed to. And yeah, people just like all the time are like, Thursday blues though, but Thursday blues. And I was like, I know.
Totally how I felt. I was like, man, and it's Tuesday. Okay. Right. I was walking around my neighborhood today, like listening to it, like man, beautiful piece of work.
Thank you.
Beautiful piece of work. So kind of follow up, but final question, but also just kind of, what is music missing today, in your opinion?
What is it missing?
And then what's next? What's next for Yolanda?
It's missing, I think it's missing balance. And I really think that this, time of crisis, like I pay attention to a lot of artists who, touring is how people are able to make money. And so they're not doing that right now.
Yeah.
And so they're, on one hand, it's like, if you've been saving and doing what you need to, then you're probably okay right now and are appreciating that you can be home with your family and, just living and maybe creating new things for when, you can get back out there. And then other people who, it's like a whole fight against streaming and like how much of the funds artists actually get and are able to recoup from that. And then, it's just like all of this like business stuff, which I understand is an important part of music, but also I just find myself like wishing that people were able to have balance between like going out and working and taking care of themselves and their families and having respite and like time to rejuvenate and come back and create more. And then you go back out again. And so I really think that it would be a different experience. Like I can't even imagine the kind of art that we would be receiving if people were able to have that balance. And so to answer your second question, that's what's next for me, is that I'm seeking and I'm giving myself permission to have more balance between what I'm doing, professionally. I mean, I do music professionally, but I find a lot of times that it can be on the back burner because of other things that I'm doing. But it's important that both things are happening in my life and that I do have a balance with that. And so if nothing else, this time has also showed me that I don't have to be like working all the time, and that, taking some days off so that I can really dive into and prioritize my art and creativity is also important and something that I can do. So I look forward to more of that, finding more of a balance, and then finding new and creative ways to have like a live music experience, because, we don't know what's going to be happening over the next few months. But if I'm not able to like be on a stage and have an audience like right there in front of me without a mask on, because how do I know what they're giving if I can't see, their face?
Sure.
I need to, figure out some new and creative ways to do that. And I want people to be able to experience that and have that, exchange with me as well. So so that's what's coming up for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Whatever it is, I'm sure it's going to be awesome. Super excited for you. This has been a wonderful conversation and an opportunity just to get to know you in a different way, in a different perspective, and certainly for our audience, both listening and viewing as well, to be able to get to know you in a new way, in a new context, new season of life, with your art, with COVID, with all the other things that are taking place and transpiring in our world today. So I want to thank you so much for your time. And certainly this will not be the last time that we kick it or connect, because in the fall, you are going on the lineup for the pop-up concert series at the Listening Room. And we're super excited about that, and everyone being able to come and experience you in your live element. Because that's really where it is. That's where the energy is. That's where you really get to connect with the audience, and people really get to see you, in all the glory and all the light that you bring, and that you radiate through your music and through yourself. So we greatly appreciate it. So yeah, everybody, Yolanda Lavender, let's give it up one more time for her. We're so excited to be able to have sat down with her. We want to thank you. Check out our content. Go to ylsoulartistry.com. There you can purchase music, and we do mean purchase. Support local arts and artists. Also, go to WGVU.org to become a supporter, a sustaining member of WGVU Public Media, specifically NPR. We can continue to bring you inspiring, entertaining content like today's interview with Yolanda. So we're super excited to have you back in the fall, Yolanda. I thank you so much for your time and being willing to spend some time with me and with us to learn a little more about you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt.